Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to Abnormal Voyages. My name is David, and today we find ourselves in San Antonio, Texas. We're here on the iconic Riverwalk. There is nowhere in Texas quite like this. So we're going to climb aboard one of these awesome boats here to check it out, and then get on the ground and see what we can find. Tag along!
We're going to a place that you've never heard of before. It's Abnormal Voyages. You're gonna learn something new. We're gonna open new doors. It's Abnormal Voyages.
Welcome aboard. We are on our boat, and we're about to take off down the river and see what we see. It's easy to understand why this is such a popular activity. It's definitely hard to beat as something relaxing and fun. Even on a hot summer day, there's plenty of shade and usually a nice breeze flowing through here, so it's a great way to beat the heat. Now, as you travel along, you'll have a tour guide that tells you all about the sights you're seeing. One such thing they'll point out is this bridge right here was one that was used in the filming of Selena, where Selena was played by Jennifer Lopez, so that's kind of a cool little landmark. There are also countless other historically significant places all up and down the path, so really you are learning a lot every single cruise you take. And honestly, even if learning facts isn't really your strong suit, this is tons of fun just to people watch and look at all the unique things the Riverwalk has to offer. Surprisingly, this wonderful attraction was actually created out of concern after a tragedy occurred. In September of 1921, a major flood happened in the nearby San Francisco River, and it killed a little over 50 people, and another 20-something went missing. This proved to the city that they needed to come up with something to stop this from ever happening again. There were lots of plans put forth, even one that considered redirecting the river to an underground kind of storm area and building stuff on top of it. But that didn't really go over very well, and eventually they landed on the idea to create a Riverwalk. The Riverwalk was smaller when it first debuted, and over the decades, new sections have been added. Today, this runs about 15.5 miles long. Very impressive. This area is truly the heartbeat of San Antonio. Some people have even gone as far as to describe San Antonio as America's Venice, in comparison to the very famous city in Italy, where they have canals running up and down all throughout the city. Luckily, San Antonio isn't sinking like Venice is, but the water still makes for an amazing place to visit. The Riverwalk is indeed open every single day, 24/7, so whenever you want to wander around, it's there for you, even on major holidays. As a matter of fact, during the Christmas season, a lot of vendors around the river take advantage of this and decorate the trees, the sidewalk, everything along the way to make a true Christmas wonderland. Another great time to visit, if you're interested in seeing something unique, is St. Patrick's Day. On that day, they dye the entire river bright green. Definitely an unusual sight. And then, taking advantage of the fact that they need to clean up all the green water, they'll usually take that time to drain sections of the river so that they can clean up everything that's possibly fallen in and sank to the bottom. Over the years, things that they've found have ranged from your regular everyday trash all the way up to bicycles and even diamond rings. So, if you happen to be out at the Riverwalk, make sure you hold on to all your belongings. There are plenty of unique and picturesque settings along the river, and I don't think it surprises anybody that a few people every year even decide to get married here. They host roughly 200 to 250 weddings every single year right here on the shore. Something that I thought was pretty cool is that the river actually comes up right next to their mall, which is called, appropriately, the River Center. As the boat winds its way around here, you can see people sitting outside. There's a food court right through those doors, and if you wanted to go inside, you'd find plenty of more restaurants, lots of stores, and even a movie theater. I'm not sure if they give out awards for most beautiful mall settings, but I think this would have to rank pretty high up there if they did. This is also a popular place to sit and hang out when you watch things such as the St. Patrick's Day parade go by. Or, every year, they host a huge canoe race in this same river, so that'd be pretty fun to go and see someday. This annual canoe challenge is one of the only times you can bring your own personal boat to make your way down the river. Up until the 1970s, people were actually allowed to bring their own little paddle boats so that they could just get out there and get themselves around. But, in the interest of public safety, it was switched over so that only officially licensed vehicles were allowed in the water. Speaking of the water, it may also interest you to know that the depths do vary throughout the river, and it ranges from as little as 2 feet deep all the way up to 24 feet deep. Luckily, they don't often have too big a problem of people falling in. However, with that in mind, this area is the only area of San Antonio where the open container laws are lifted, so people are able to walk around with whatever kind of drink they please. Alcohol has always had a presence here on the Riverwalk. The oldest bar here is called the Esquire Tavern, and it was opened on December 5th, 1933, which is the exact day that Prohibition was repealed. So as soon as they could serve, they did. And I've got to say, this easy access to drinks really kind of gives the Riverwalk a kind of permanent party feel, a little like when you're walking down Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Just a little more relaxing. Speaking of partying, another option available when you visit the Riverwalk is to have a dining cruise, where you can actually have your entire meal and drinks catered on your boat, so you can have yourselves a little party all of your own as you go down the river. It definitely makes all the people on the land jealous. And now, as we start to bring our boat tour to a close, you'll notice this very interesting looking structure that the boats are going through. This is in place to help keep that flooding away that we talked about earlier. Through this, they're able to close these doors if necessary to help regulate all of the water levels. That way, none of the businesses on the Riverwalk and nothing in the city beyond it will ever be flooded again. Alright, it looks like we are coming up to our dock. So, make sure you grab all your stuff you had in the boat with you, and watch your step as we exit.
Well, that was an incredible cruise, but let's go now on foot and get a closer look at some of those things.
Restaurants are by far the most popular businesses right on the Riverwalk, and who can blame them? It's such a beautiful setting to sit down and enjoy a good Texas meal. And there's plenty of Texas things about, so that you never forget you're here in the Lone Star State. There's plenty of businesses that have been around pretty much since the beginning of the Riverwalk, and the fact that they're still here shows you how great and successful they are. You've also got to make sure you stop and see some of the public art on display, but be careful around the bushes. They tend to move. And just to give you an idea of how big the Riverwalk is, here's a map that has the very bright blue, just to give you an idea of what we just cruised on.
And as the sun slowly begins to set, it is the perfect time to grab yourself something nice and frosty to carry around as you explore.
As I mentioned before, the party-like atmosphere is only enhanced at night, with all the lights and colorful displays to see. It's just a lot of people having a really good time. Even though it's not quite Christmas with the abundance of lights that come out around then, most of the places still go out of their way to be bright and welcoming to everybody that's out in the warm evening. Speaking of which, I think it's about time to grab some food. Not only that, but maybe we can even catch a little concert.
Sitting here with some amazing chips and salsa, right on the river, beautiful music. What more could you want? Well, that's all the time we have for today, adventurers. My name is David, and this has been Abnormal Voyages. Thanks for tagging along. We'll see you in the next one.